Hello, my name is Brett Roberts, and for my Action and Career Project, I researched and developed plans for using technology to differentiate reading for gifted students. The problem that was attacked in this plan is that gifted students are not having their reading needs met by the school due to a lack of differentiation in the areas of book choice and higher level thinking products that can be used to assess the reading. So this is a two-tiered problem. First of all, gifted students do not have enough autonomy in the books that they read due to a lack of books that are in their ability or interest levels that are found in school libraries. Secondly, gifted students are not allowed to use their higher level thinking skills in the products that are used to assess the reading. Before we go over the plans, let's go over what a gifted reader is. A gifted reader is someone who reads earlier than classmates. They generally have a higher level of vocabulary and comprehension, and they progress through reading at a faster rate. According to Churchill, it is important that gifted students are often left to figure things out for themselves, because it is expected they will exceed no matter what. Schools need to focus on finding reading materials and assessments that push gifted students and encourage them to become lifelong learners. So the first issue of book choice is that gifted students do not have enough autonomy or options in the books that they read. To attack this first problem, we're going to differentiate what students read by the implementation of ebooks. According to Zimlick, using technology in reading is more effective for gifted students because it provides more challenge for them and it fills in the gaps that are found in a normal classroom. The goal of this part of the plan is to increase in attitude, motivation, and challenge in the level of reading books. Ebooks would need to be purchased for the students by the school to check out and download their books on. The benefits of using ebooks. According to Flanagan Knapp and Goodwin, the texts are cheaper and they're quicker to download in an ebook than a normal book would cost. Ebooks are portable, so they can be taken home, they can be taken class to class very easily. There's Wi-Fi for quick downloads, especially in a school setting. There's a dictionary and an encyclopedia built in case students need to look either subjects or words up. And the biggest benefit is the large number and the variety of text. This will provide more differentiation in what they read, and it allows them to connect to a more diverse cultures and interests. Books that are simply not found in school libraries due to funds can be downloaded easily and cheaply on an ebook. To evaluate the success of this plan, there will be a survey presented to students at the beginning and the end of the year. This survey will measure their overall attitude towards reading, previous books that they have read in school, and rather their intellectual and motivational needs were met through the ebook program. Success would be an increase in overall attitude and motivation towards reading. This increase in attitude and motivation is more likely to make our students lifelong recreational readers. The second issue that's part of the problem is that gifted students need more higher level thinking assessments that include discussion and choice in multimedia products. The first plan is differentiation through ebooks and the school-wide enrichment model for reading, or SCMR. It is important to note that all these implementation plans, the next three, all include the use of ebooks. I've already gone over the benefits and the breakdown and the evaluation of using ebooks, so I will not go over them with every single plan. The breakdown of SCMR, the goal is to differentiate and higher level assessments. SCMR is an assessment of reading strategies for all students. It is important to note that it is school-wide, so it is used for all students. SCMR is three phases. First, mini-group lessons within the classroom. Second, independent reading with interventions that are designed for both struggling and gifted readers. And third, projects that include higher level thinking skills. The benefits of SCMR, according to Gilson, Little, Fermender, Reese, and Sweeney, is that it does have differentiated interventions. These interventions can be designed to meet the needs of gifted students. It incorporates higher level thinking assessments, although they may not always be technology based. and it has been shown to increase reading comprehension, reading fluency, and students' attitudes towards reading. To evaluate the effectiveness of SCMR, Matthews, Richet, and McBee noted that immediate results are hard to measure. It does take SCMR more than 1 year to show significant results in reading. Assessment results from the beginning of the year will be compared to the same results at the end of the year. SCMR does provide rubrics for measuring the students' reading, so these rubrics can be used throughout the year and from year to year. Success will be an increase in achievement level on those assessments. The second implementation plan will be differentiation through ebooks and multimedia products. So again, ebooks will be part of this plan. The breakdown of multimedia products, according to Olthouse and Miller. The goal here is student autonomy and higher level thinking assessments. Students will match their learning style and their interests to whatever assessment format they choose. It is important that the teacher does not limit the choices the students have. Trying new formats of assessment will drive the motivation of the students. Technology formats will be created and be presented to a much larger audience. Assessment tools will need to be provided, they'll need to be modeled, and they'll need to be explicitly taught by the teacher. The teacher also needs to create rubrics to assess each format that could possibly be chosen by the students. The benefits of multimedia products, according to Zimlick, Thomas, Alley, and Rizzoli, is that it does give students much more autonomy, gives them accountability, and it encourages them to be independent learners by choosing things that interest them. Students can choose modern and interesting topics such as blogs or podcasts. It gives them more autonomy in assessment, which increases intrinsic motivation level of the students. And students can connect to peers and authentic audiences outside of the school by posting their assessments digitally. This increases critical thinking skills. To evaluate the success of multimedia products, rubrics will need to be developed over all possible options. Most of the criteria in these rubrics should be the same. This criteria that will be used to track student progress. It should include both lower and higher level elements. It is important to note that the rubric criteria, most of the rubric criteria, should be the same across all possible media options, and these should be content-based. The ones that might differ are criteria that are linked to creativity for the making of the actual product. The third implementation plan is differentiation through ebooks again and using online discussion groups. The breakdown of this plan, according to Thomas, is it takes the traditional face-to-face literature circles that are used in language arts and it moves into an online format using Zoom meetings or Google Hangouts. Partnerships will need to be set up with high school students, gifted students from other schools, college students, or adults in the community. This creates a much wider and more authentic audience for the students. The process of participating in online discussion would need to be taught and explicitly modeled by the teacher. The benefits of online discussions, according to Thomas and Zimlick, is it removes the constraints of a classroom to find an ability level audience, which provides higher level of critique and conversations. If it is a heterogeneous classroom, most gifted students might only have a couple more gifted students in their classroom to participate in discussions with. This provides a much larger audience so that they can get a different perspective. It utilizes digital literacy, digital citizenship, and collaboration. Literature circles are enjoyable and they're beneficial for students, and it makes reading a social cultural experience, which makes it much more varied and dynamic. To evaluate the success of online discussions, it'll be used a rubric. The rubric will be based on how students ask questions, how they answer questions, and how students follow proper protocols for online discussions. This rubric will be tracked throughout the year, so you can do one first quarter, second, third, and fourth, and measure the progress that students make. This rubric could also be used to measure success across multiple school years. Defensive choice. We're looking at SCMR, multimedia products, and online discussions. Online discussions was chosen as the best option. It is important to note that ebooks were part of all of these options, so ebooks will also be used. SAMR does provide a choice in what students read through the ebooks, and it provides differentiated instructions or interventions and discussions. What it lacks is a technology element to assessments, at least all assessments. It does not also provide a wide audience, and the time constraints are a big thing with SAMR. It is important that SAMR is best served as a school-wide enrichment model, and it requires 90 minutes per day for interventions, which is something that a lot of enrichment gifted programs do not have. It also takes over a year to see success. Multimedia products do provide choice in what students read through ebooks and how they're assessed. It has a lot of technology options, and it provides intrinsic motivation. What it lacks is socialization and higher level discussions with ability level peers outside of the school. Online discussions provide a choice in what students read through ebooks. It provides collaboration using technology, high-level discussion with ability-level peers or adults, even some of them outside of the school, and a social-cultural experience. Things to consider for a teacher. Before a teacher does online discussions, they need to establish partnerships with other schools, high school students, or community members. And proper protocols need to be modeled and taught in how to participate in an online community. Here's a sample implementation schedule that can be used for online discussions. First of all, before the school year even starts, the teacher is going to need to purchase ebooks for students to use. They need to write a proposal of the benefits of ebooks and present that to an administrator. Tag funds can be used for this. An example might be buying 20 different ebooks for students to check out. Teachers also need to develop partnerships with other schools, the high school, or other tag students from other schools, and possibly community members. Step 2 is weeks 1 through 4. In week 1, students need to complete an inventory where they go over what books they've read, book types they like, and what interests them. This can be done through a Google form. Week 2, students will choose a book that interests and challenges them through looking through the e-book libraries. Weeks 2 through 4 will be the students reading their chosen book, and after each reading experience, the students will journal their experience with their book. Step 3 is the first assessment. It is the mid-book checkpoint. Students will have established the midpoint of their book. Students will fill out a mid-book discussion form where they go over key questions and predictions that they might have. And students will participate in their first online discussion with their group. Step 4 is weeks 5 through 8. Students will need to read the second half of their book, and they'll need to continue to journal their experience with their book. Step 5 is week 9. This is the end of the quarter. Students will finish reading their books. The students will create either a video or a written book review, could be in the form of a blog, or it could even be recorded in a podcast. Students will also participate in their final book discussion. The final step takes place after the discussions. It is the assessment phase. There will be evaluation and reteaching portion of the project. Assessment skills of students in their discussion skills, their ability to participate in an online discussion format, and you'll need to read their journals or blogs, listen to their podcasts, and assess those using rubrics. Then you will work to improve those skills for the next 3 book discussions for the year. Adjustments for this fall. With school possibly being completely out or a hybrid model, there needs to be different guidance, which will have to be provided through Zoom meetings and digital feedback by the teacher. If the students aren't in school, there'll have to be at least weekly Zoom meetings set up with the students. Some of them will have to be one-on-one Zoom meetings. You'll have to also find creative means of finding books for the students. If you use ebooks, you'll have to find a way to check these out to students. Another option would be for students to use their home tablets or phones and download books for them to read. A Google Calendar will have to be established for book discussion meetings. This will take a lot of planning, especially if using community members or school or students from other schools, and make sure that the meetings are attended by all of them. And you'll have to have a Google Classroom for student resources for different rubrics and discussion points that you plan on using. With the format of school possibly changing for the fall, a lot of teachers are going to be looking for tools that they can use in their classroom. The value of an action inquiry project is that you can look at valuable resources, you can do literature reviews on them, and you can develop implementation plans for those. Other tools that would be valuable in this setting might be the making of blogs or podcasts or anything that can be placed on a digital format after being made by the students. During research, you can find valuable sources such as these that are listed that were used for this presentation. Again, this action inquiry project was designed to use technology to differentiate reading for gifted students. All three of the implementation plans I think would be valuable for students. The implementation of ebooks is something that schools can do, and most schools should do, in order to take some of the stress off of the libraries. If schools can get away from the cost and the thought of having students be in charge of this technology and taking it home and develop some sort of plan and some protocols, it can be highly valuable. SCMR can be valuable as a school-wide plan where the time limits and the time constraints can be accounted for. Multimedia projects should be used in all classrooms, and it is a highly valuable tool. If some sort of discussion could also be implemented in there, it would be even more valuable. The online discussion format takes a traditional lit circle that we all use in language arts, and it just brings it to a wider audience, and it implements a technology that would be more motivational and more trendy for students. This would be highly valuable for them. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope that you've learned a lot about the implementation of these plans, and I hope that you would consider making changes in your classroom that would implement technologies to meet the needs of our students.